Investigative reporter Kyle Harvey used public record law to determine that our federal courts in the Central Valley are among the slowest in the entire country. He conducted nearly a dozen interviews about why this is and what's being done to change it. Kyle?
Michelle, the valley's population has exploded since my family moved here in 1990. The judicial system did not grow with it. This has created a terrible backlog of both criminal and civil cases. It might just be the best kept secret from Kern County taxpayers.
Our rate of getting those cases to trial is much slower than you would have in a different district.
Federal justice takes longer here than it does just about anywhere else in the United States.
It is too long. There's nobody who disagrees. Everybody agrees that it should be much faster.
The problem area is in our portion of the Ninth Circuit Court. This system handles cases in the eastern half of the state, from Bakersfield in the south to Reading in the north. So why is it a secret?
The problem is that people are not made aware of it until they have to be part of the system, and when they are part of the system, they get frustrated.
Wesley Morris never anticipated being part of the federal justice system.
It feels natural now. 10, 15 years ago, I definitely wouldn't have seen this happening now.
Did you hunt ducks last year, Driver?
A gun store owner in Taft, Wesley and some other co-plaintiffs are bringing a First Amendment challenge to an old California law that regulates the advertising of handguns.
They're going to strike this law down.
But as hopeful as he is about that, he's also tired of waiting. His group of plaintiffs filed their case in 2014. It's not even scheduled for trial until 2017.
It's definitely an interesting process where the wheels of justice are not fast.
The frustration, whether you're a judge, attorney, civil litigant, or criminal defendant, is caused by a tremendous case backlog. But didn't we just build a $28.5 million federal courthouse downtown? What happens there? For starters, nothing to do with criminal proceedings. Even though it's a Bakersfield case, the trial for Damasio Diaz, an allegedly crooked cop whose life was profiled in Disney's McFarland USA, is happening in Fresno. Why? I posed that question to Jennifer Thurston, the woman holding the gavel every day in Bakersfield's federal courthouse.
The trials and the pleas and the sentences have to happen in front of a district judge, and we don't have a district judge here.
Thurston is a magistrate, meaning she's appointed by a federal judge and has limited powers. A district judge, like the ones in Fresno or Sacramento, are appointed by the president and confirmed by the Senate.
District judges have jurisdiction that's set by the Constitution.
As a magistrate, Thurston can handle lots of small things in Bakersfield, like Social Security appeals, granting search warrants, and detention hearings. But criminal trials and many of our area's civil lawsuits require the authority of a judge over here, in Fresno. So for a lot of folks, a date in federal court means a trip up the 99.
Starting route to Fresno.
That creates more expense. Also, it's difficult for the clients to have to get there, for them to leave their jobs, their homes, the other things that are important to them in their lives, and have to travel 2 hours or 4 or 5 hours away to get their day in court.
And that date in court could take years to arrive, because according to federal records obtained by Eyewitness News, the average judge in our district has over 1,200 pending cases, meaning that criminal trials that take an average of 7.5 months everywhere else take nearly 3 times as long in the Central Valley. Civil cases that are closed in about 27 months nationwide take nearly 38 months on average here.
Over the last year and a half, we've been having to send about a third of our civil caseload to Sacramento to be decided by district judges there because we just don't have the time.
But this afternoon, I got a call from the clerk of the court for the Eastern District telling me that the policy of sending Bakersfield cases to Sacramento ended a couple of months ago, shortly after my first interview for this story. Despite the immense population growth in the valley in the last quarter century, the size of the federal justice system has hardly grown at all.
You consider Puerto Rico and Guam and the entire federal system. We are the busiest district. Our judges have more cases than any other judge anywhere.
There's the old saying, justice delayed is justice denied.
Remember when he came in?
We asked our representatives in Congress about the justice being denied their constituents. They were well aware of the problem.
Well, we need to bring in more judges. There's a real need and a fairness issue.
We also reached out to Senator Dianne Feinstein. She sent us a statement about the issue, which reads, "The caseload in California's Eastern District is crippling, nearly twice the national average," and later saying that since 2011, I've tried to pass legislation to fix the problem. But here's the kicker.
My view is
Feinstein says the House killed her bill.
I've introduced legislation.
And McCarthy says the Senate killed his. So for now, people like Wesley will continue to wait.
It's definitely frustrating when, it takes a long time and they don't really have to give a reason. Kind of got to just work with it and keep moving.
And besides the congressional fight over when and how to fund those new judgeships, there's going to be another significant hurdle as well. Any new judge that they appoint is going to have to be coming from recommended by the president and then confirmed by the Senate. We've all watched how that process plays out and how long it takes with the Supreme Court. That would have to happen perhaps several times to get our system caught up with the number of judges we need here.
So you're saying it's not going to happen tomorrow or anytime?
Certainly not. Certainly not tomorrow. No. I will add that Congressman Valadao and McCarthy said they're optimistic that perhaps it could happen soon. They cite that the federal courthouse, we got that, and that was a long time coming, but that it's not going to happen tomorrow.
Did they say that the Sacramento, they're not going because you kind of pointed that out to them? Or?
They didn't say that directly. But the timing is interesting.
Yeah, it certainly is. All right. Thank you so much, Kyle. We appreciate it.